2026 is going to be the craziest year probably, okay? We haven't seen anything yet. Guys, I really want the same thing to happen again in 2026 as it did in 2017. And if you were here back then, you'd know how crazy things got. I think it's honestly possible due to these certain paths opening up finally after a few years. Just look at what happened yesterday. Justin from Watching Guru, the Federal Reserve has ended quantitative tightening for good. That's it, okay? That's it, guys. No more draining the liquidity out of the markets, yes? To bring more money into the markets, they're going to buy stocks, buy everything, and drive up prices to impossible levels, okay? So the stage is being set. Remember, science does not matter. It's all about the money. Is the money going into the asset, or will it soon be leaving it? There will soon be a lot of rain. Now remember, QE hasn't started right. QT was just over, okay? Things go crazy when QE starts and the money machine goes crazy. Guys, let's take a moment to calm down. Made by Ted Pillows. QT was run for 3 years by the Federal Reserve and is now over. Don't forget that we're the only ones who can say that the markets will be delayed and that the Bitcoin cycle will no longer matter, right? From what I can tell, this cycle will last until 26. We might have just heard the news from the Federal Reserve. Okay, so after more than 3 years, the Federal Reserve has stopped QT, 3 years or more, right? Guys, we're going to talk about what this really means. Since QT began in the middle of 2022 and finished right now, guys, this time period is pretty long. It makes sense for QE to start next. A lot of people are sharing this on X, and it's true, but most people don't understand this. QE doesn't happen until there are big cracks in the economy. A big crash will happen first if QE takes place. Just what we asked for. This is a great match for the fact that the real bottom will probably be reached in the next few months, right? For good, and then from then, they're going to make it balloon to who knows where, right? So let's take this chart, for example. This is Bitcoin on the 2-weekly time frame, okay? Guys, it shows us the different QT and QE rounds, okay? Okay, I told you this cycle would last until 226. People are going to believe it, okay? People are going to be manipulated. QT happened when over here, okay? And this was Bitcoin's empty market. QE started over here, and this was the 2021 bull cycle where everything was going pretty crazy, right? It was the only thing that was missing from this cycle that XRP did not take part, okay? XRP did not play here. Why? Because of the cases and other nonsense that came with XRP, okay? However, XRP did take part here during QT, okay? It then went off. Check this out. Didn't we still go up with QT? I think it's because of the cycles. But the loops are about to end because QE is coming back soon. Okay, something like this will likely just line up straight when it does. I am also not kidding, which fits the situation where things are going through the roof and then they start to fall apart, most likely in late 26. Okay, so the plan is really very easy and simple. We need to make it through this last stage of the explosion before it all falls apart, and then XRP will really rise from the ashes. Now, the only reason QE began in 2020 was because of the 2020C event. Yes, you all saw this crash happen so quickly, the Federal Reserve had to call some kind of emergency meeting, all right? You do remember that it was late, right? Like it came out of nowhere, but we know it was planned so that the markets can do this right away, okay? Also, they lowered rates. After doing all of this, they brought Kiwi back, started making a lot of money. Why? Because of what's going to happen there in 2020, okay? They then roared and shot up like never before. Think about what Bitcoin will do during QE if this is what it did during QT. It went from 16 to, what was it? Look at this. From QE, it went from about $3,000 to around $60,000. Think about what it will do this time around. Like it's going to be the top blow dry type, right? Or a part of it, right? Guys, let's think that it goes up like this in the year 226, right? Before that, though, we need this crash to happen. By the way, this crash will be Satan's last chance to get everyone to sell, okay? Okay, that's why you shouldn't be the one when that time comes. I now want to know when this crash will happen, right? Okay, let's look at this. That was the end of QT, right? Here's where QE began. It took about 6 months, right? In 6 months, it will be around the middle of 2026, but I think it will be closer to March, right? It's possible that the past will show us what the future holds. This crash might happen in March, right? There was a surprise Blackstone 1 event, okay, before they start QE. It might only last a short time, like in March 2020, or it might last a long time, like during the financial crisis of 2008. You'll have one of the best parades of your life if you make it through that crash. Don't expect a new bull run to start next week or month. First, there will be pain, but then there will be a rise that changes your life and money, right? So if I could just catch up before that happens, guys, it would be really gross because XRP will probably go up to $10 or more during this part of QE. Finally, it's going to be 10 degrees, right? It has never happened before this. Has it already started? From the bar chart, this looks a lot like the system being broken before QE starts. News from US banks said that the Federal Reserve had just pumped $13.5 billion into the US banking system through overnight repos. This is the second biggest flood of cash since 2020, and it's likely to be bigger than the peak of the dot-com bubble. Keep going. That is a problem. So something is going on with the banks behind the scenes right now. Guys, there may be a banking problem, but this is all nonsense, right? It's all just a show, a front, right? They'll start QE again when things get bad, right? This really did happen back here. Also, take a look at these overnight repurchase deals. Now, let's talk about overnight repurchase deals, shall we? I mean, the swap markets, what happened before was that this thing began to spike, right? When this thing began to spike all over the place, guys, it became very unstable. The event in 2020 was pretty much predicted by the fact that it just started spiking again, right? That means it will likely go up a little, then down, then up again, and then the real event will happen, which should scare everyone, right? In addition to it, they are going to add some kind of bad story. I don't know, maybe some kind of disease, right? Maybe some nuclear stuff, or maybe cyber attacks of some kind, I don't know. Then QE starts, okay, in the next few months. Okay, well, that's as easy as Windsor 3. The code is already known, so it looks like things aren't going well behind the scenes, but that was the point, right? That's what they want here. But we were the only ones who said this would go on until 226. And more people are getting on from Coinburu. The best time for Bitcoin to be in Q2226. I think it might be Q4. I'm not sure of the exact time. It doesn't matter. The important thing is whether the markets will pump in a year or not. We know it will happen because of QE, right? So Ralph Powell, a macro investor, says that the 4-year cycle is now the 5-year cycle. The high point of Bitcoin should happen on June 26th. Let's see this. What's the deal with Bitcoin not really taking off yet? Like, this chart is it. Bitcoin is basically, this Bitcoin has gone up and down, and it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Don't forget that we've always said it's all about the business cycle. It's always the business trend that makes sense.